All right. Well, welcome to the first Zoom for the year, or first weekly Zoom. After round one, we got there. Thanks very much for all your help in making sure that we had an umpire or umpires at each game. It was a challenging few days in the lead up with, I think we had 3 or 4 pull out with COVID. We had one with work pull out. Someone else pulled out at the last minute, and then of course we were all getting used to officials HQ. So yeah, it's been a pretty hectic time, and I said to Pete late last week it'd be a miracle if everyone turns up the game, which they all did, which was fantastic. So yeah, really appreciate all your efforts in making sure that you're at the right spot. And I just want a special mention to Peter Angel and Ray Roberts, who are unbelievable behind the scenes. You guys have no idea what they do. They're just absolutely phenomenal. So yeah, really thank them a lot. I wouldn't have been able to get through the last few days without them. Okay, so I've got a couple of milestones for this week. Just first Division 1 game, Andrew Leach on the boundary did his last weekend. And we've got a 100th game, Kim Marshall in the golf for this weekend. So well done to those guys. For those of you, I know Barry, you'd be looking out for it. The list of game tallies, which I put on the website, I'm not able to update until next week. Basically, I've got to work out how to get that information out of Officials HQ. So I'll wait until I got the Easter weekend next week, where I can spend a bit of time getting that done. So yeah, just be a little patient on that. Many of you will be aware of some really sad news over the weekend. One of our veteran field umpires, Trevor Wigan, passed away. He rang me on Friday. He was appointed to 2 games on Saturday, and had a chat with him. He wasn't feeling too well. He says, it looks like I've got COVID. I said, well, mate, just rest up, take it easy. And then unfortunately he was found passed away in his home on Sunday morning. I spoke to his ex-wife today, who was dealing with all the issues that have resulted from the weekend, and a couple of kids of theirs. We're pretty shocked by the news. Trevor was in his mid-60s. He had umpired 651 Adelaide Footy League games, so that's not insignificant. And absolutely worth us all wearing our black armbands this weekend. So can we make sure for all games this weekend you get the black tape out, and that you do that to honour Trevor. All right, on to other matters. Now, just as you did with Scheduler, there is a option in Officials HQ for you to go to your profile and tick the boxes to share contact information with umpires you're appointed to. So if you could do that, that would be much appreciated. And therefore, if someone's needing to contact you before the game, they can do that, but they can't do that without ticking those boxes. So if you could all go and do that this week, it'd be good. Croz, I just got a message you can't hear me. Well, there's no point me talking to you, but just for everyone to know, we do record these Zoom meetings each week. Obviously, it's great if you can join us, but if you can't for whatever reason, you can watch the replay later on. All right, it hasn't taken long. I do this every year. I said it pre-season. I'll repeat it again. Please do not leave valuables in the change rooms. And of course, we had an umpire do it on the weekend. They were a new umpire, so yeah, they've learnt the lesson hard, but their phone went missing. So if you have a phone, have a wallet, have any sort of valuables, do not leave them in your bag in the change rooms. Either leave valuables with someone else in your car, or, I guess the most ideal thing is to hand it to someone at the club. Usually there's someone behind the bar at the kiosk that can look after the umpires. But it should be a routine thing you do before you go out to umpire, that you get rid of those valuables so that they don't go missing. All right, next one. Okay, it was a big change for everyone to get used to. The B and C grade last possession rule, except for Division 1 reserves. All those games normally have club boundary umpires. So just repeating, the clubs have the choice. They can either provide the boundary umpires or not. If they choose to provide boundary umpires and there's a need for throwing, obviously the boundary umpire throws it in. If they don't, we as field umpires just get the ball and bring it in 10 or 15 metres, throw the ball up. It's not up to us to tell the clubs whether they have to or not. You can have one club provide a boundary umpire, one club not. Yeah, I guess you just have to work in with whatever they do. Make sure you're aware of how the last possession rule works. It's not last touch, it's last possession. And it will take a little while for everyone to get used to it. But there is that video from the sample that you can watch if you're unsure of how it works. Just another note on not having boundary umpires. It doesn't mean that field umpires have to go collect the ball when it goes out of bounds or goes through for a goal. That's where you need to ask the players to do it. And yeah, I guess you just need to ask politely and make it clear that we're not going to start the game if they don't. So yeah, don't feel like you have to be the one that goes get the ball. It should be the players. Any questions or comments about last possession in B and C grade men's footy that was implemented for the first time last weekend? I know there were a few issues along the way that people had to sort through. As I said, people will get used to it. But while I've got you all on the line, is there anyone that wanted to ask anything?
Well, it's not really a question, but just comment. I don't reckon it will last too long where they don't provide the boundary umpires because it was we had a nothing game, but the amount of times where the whole grandstand and both benches are that's out of bounds, and we're 30 metres away.
Yeah, I actually think it won't be long before all clubs won't bother, because really it's B and C grade footy. You just have to make a judgment call on some of those, and it's one less volunteer for them to have to do. It's always the hardest thing for the clubs to do, to find someone that wants to run Ks and Ks. At the end of the day, it's B and C grade footy, and if they get a line ball decision that's in or out, so be it.
Yeah, no, I agree. And the other thing was just the time between goals, which, I mean, they can sort out with someone standing behind the goals. But, our game was 12 goals to 0 goals, so it didn't really matter. But you could see how it might at the point end of the year.
Yeah. At the end of the day, we just work with whatever the clubs decide. My opinion is it won't take long for clubs just to realise that they can do quite easily without. But if they choose to provide, then they do. All right, next one. After the game administration, obviously that was something that we had to work through. It was, there was things missing compared to what we did last year. So there was no need to put in the score. There wasn't a spot to put in extra issues. That will be fixed for this week. So that section where you had to put in the score and make a note of any issues, that will be there this week. The scores are really put in as a confirmation for if there is a problem, the league can check it. There's very rarely a problem, so that's why it didn't really matter on the weekend. But we should be inputting it, and we will be inputting it from here on in. And we're aware the yellow card section did not work, so we'll be addressing that to make sure. We're hoping that it works this Saturday. We understand that there are times where you're going to have to email Peter or I the information for us to sort out. But yeah, as we go along, we hope that becomes less and less frequent. So don't just use that as an out. Try to get it working. Just a reminder, the way it's set up is only one field umpire can put in the votes. If you are appointed as number one field umpire, you're the one that's able to do it, and the other umpire isn't. So you'll see on your appointment in Officials HQ a little trophy symbol if you are able to put in the best players. So it has to do with something with, I think it's Western Australian Footy League, where betting's on the Sandover medal, and they have to have some security on the way votes are managed, and for whatever reason they leave it to just one field umpire to put in. So yeah, we'll see whether that. A lot of this stuff will work its way out as we go along. You know, we expect Officials HQ to become more and more user friendly as we go. So let's just do the best we can with what we've got at the moment, and we hope that yeah, certain things can be fixed as we go along. For those, I know there won't be too many, but if anyone does want to run the 3K time trial, we'll do it Wednesday of next week, so the 13th of April. That's only for field umpires who want to record another time, so I'm not expecting too many to turn up, but I've got one or two that are keen to. So if you want to run the 3K Wednesday of next week, otherwise just train at Bartels Road as per usual. All right, our next concern with Officials HQ is paying you all for the weekend. So we're working through the issues that make that happen. Hoping that there's not going to be problems, but I'm just forecasting that if there are, there could be delays. And so I'll communicate if there's going to be issues. We're hopeful there's not, but it is a new system. And we've got the Ivana who works in the accounts and Sean who works in the office a couple of days a week, working hard to do their best to make sure that process is correctly. But yeah, I'm just not super confident it will happen. We'll wait and see. All right, so the main issues from the weekend, we had a pretty solid start, considering we had people doubling up all over the place and we had to get some new umpires into games. The main issues I want to talk about tonight, dangerous tackles and holding the ball. Just for anyone on the line, I think most of you will watch the interpretations video, but if any of you haven't, please do so. We did have a couple of new umpires I had to put together. It wasn't the ideal combination, but just the way things rolled out. And they're from Sanford Juniors, so they implemented the 666 rule into that game, which didn't go down too well, considering it was a close game, and one of the clubs was disadvantaged by that. So I've obviously told them that's not a rule in our competition, which would have been known to them if they'd watched the video. So please watch the interpretations video if you haven't. But I'm going to try and go to the video now and have a look through the sections on holding the ball and dangerous tackles. So just bear with me. Here we go. Hopefully this works. It's been a while since I've done this. All right, fingers up if you can see that, or thumb up. Yep, awesome. Okay, so as we said before, the video is from 2020. We've kept to the same one because we really haven't made too many changes since. 2020 was when we tightened up holding the ball. So before that, we were very lenient. We erred on the side of not paying it to go with the ball player. When it was realised that we were so far different to AFL, then we needed to change things, which we did. So this video just reminds you of all the different reasons why you can pay holding the ball. And my gut feel is, from being out there and umpiring the way that I want it umpired, is that some of you aren't tough enough when, especially when the ball is on the ground and they take possession. So let's just go talk through the different reasons why you can pay holding the ball. But the idea is we want players to make a genuine attempt to get rid of it when they're tackled. And we want them not to go to ground. We want them to keep their feet. If they are on the ground, we don't want them to take possession. We want them to knock it clear. So let's have a look at some of the different examples here. So again, if you want to go back and have a look at this later on, it'd be worth doing. But yes, the aim is to change player behaviour, and it does work. If you are hot on it early on, you see how much they try and knock it out when on the ground. So even when there's no opportunity, a player must make a genuine attempt to dispose of the ball, or the umpire can penalise for holding the ball. So here's some examples of free kicks for holding the ball. If you see that they just drop it, so in this one here, he doesn't make an attempt to kick it, he just drops the ball. So that, even though he had no prior, he just dropped it. So when he makes no attempt to handball it. So in this one there, he hasn't really got a prior, but he just waits for the ball up and makes no attempt to handball it. You're wanting to see a genuine attempt. If you just delay the whistle a little bit to see if it comes out, that's a good thing. So I often say, you know, for decisions like in the back, holding the man, high contact, the basic free kicks, the moment you see it, you pay the free kick. But for marking contests and for holding the ball, just delay your whistle a little bit and see what happens. Because sometimes with holding the ball decisions, you're ready to pay holding the ball and the ball can come free and it may be a play on situation if they've tried to get rid of it. So diving on the ball in this situation here, sees the ball on the ground, dives on it. That means you don't have to worry about giving a prior opportunity. He's had the chance to, or he's decided to dive on it. Here, with this prior opportunity, he has had a chance to handball or kick. And because he doesn't handball or kick, it's therefore holding the ball. So again, another one here, this one here, the player has had a chance to handball or kick. You could say probably he's had more of a chance to handball than kick. Now there he could have handballed, then goes to kick and he doesn't, so therefore it's penalised. If they fend off, that's their prior opportunity. So fends off and then immediately tackled, doesn't handball or kick, it's penalised. So this is the one I really want to spend a bit of time talking about because I'm really hot now. I know what I'm looking for, and it's probably even hotter than what they do at AFL. But if we all do it, it changes player behaviour. They get the message that if they're on the ground, and the idea is that they don't fall to the ground, but if they are on the ground, what they have to do is knock the ball clear. And if they choose to not knock the ball clear and grab hold of it, and then they cause a ball up by doing that, then that's where we're going to pay that tough holding the ball decision. So in this one here, player goes around, she pretty much drags it in. That is an AFL drag in. You'll see them pay that. But, you know, she's gone to ground, and with this one here, similar, it's a bit of a drag in. Player's on the ground, brings it back underneath him. And Paul does a really good job in delaying the whistle, sees that it's not coming out, and then penalises. This is the one, the next one that Dennis pays is the one that I think we can be a bit stronger on. So player's on the ground, he chooses to take possession, immediately tackled, but because he chose to take possession rather than knock it clear, that's where you pay a tough hold on the ball when they go, and sometimes the players are like, what have I done? And he said, well, you've grabbed hold of it, you've caused the ball up. And if you pay a couple of them early, then you'll see them try and knock it clear as the game goes along. Not saying that we have to pay holding the ball every single time though. So there are times where you either call play on or ask for a ball up. So here's some examples there. So when there's no prior opportunity, they haven't had a chance to handball kick, and the ball is held in or spills loose while the player makes a genuine intent to kick or handball, that's where you either ball it up or call play on. So this one here, immediately tackled, tries to kick it eventually, spills loose. You see that the leg try and kick it. With this one here, immediately tackled, no prior, trying to get it out, you just ball that one up. When players from both sides have their hands on the ball, ball's on the ground sometimes, and you get multiple sets of hands on the ball, you can't pick one player out to penalise there. That's just a straight ball up. And so there's just too many hands on that to penalise anyone. So there will be opportunities where you do need to ball it up. But as I said before, when it's just one player that grabs hold of it, that's where you penalise them. So when the tackler who's behind the other player actually pulls the ball in and pulls it into the player on the bottom, that's where you ball it up as well. If a player who's on the ground takes possession and then gets to their feet immediately after taking possession of the ball, you don't want to penalise them. So here, player's on the ground, then gets it and gets up. No prior, you can ball that one up. All right. Any questions on any of those holding the balls? There's a lot to take in there. If you haven't seen that before, go back and watch it again. But my gut feel is we're not being strong enough with the player who takes position when they're on the ground at the moment. All right, on to the dangerous tackles. So this is a real concern of the league. So, and those of you who have been umpire for the last few years while I've been in charge know the journey we've been on this. We went really strong on it and gave out red cards left, right, and centre. We tried to get the message out that it's not acceptable. We have changed player behaviour to a reasonable extent, but we're still getting it happening too much for my liking. So let's just have a look at some of the examples here. There'll be the issue with dangerous tackles is there's different levels of dangerous tackles. So some will just need a free kick, and others which are more severe will need a card, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So with this one here, taken to the ground in a slinging motion, but it's a concerning action, but not with enough force for it to be a card, but a good free kick to get the message out that you've got to be better than that. With this one, we had a couple of these on the weekend. A sling, the head isn't slammed into the ground there, but it's a slinging action which doesn't look great. If you see them grab hold of that Guernsey and sling them to the ground in that motion, that should be a trigger to penalise for a dangerous tackle. And if that slinging action like that slams their head in the ground, that's where you've got to use a card. And we had a couple on the weekend which didn't get penalised, and they should have. And one of them was actually paid holding the ball, which is a hate of mine. I hate that occurring. And so again, coming back to what I said before, if you see a player that's had a prior opportunity, they get tackled, and you're thinking it's going to be holding the ball, just delay that whistle. And then sometimes at the last minute, you can change your mind from holding the ball to dangerous tackle. And so if you just delay that whistle for the holding the balls, you can sometimes get those dangerous tackles in the last action. So for the more serious dangerous tackles, we went through a phase where we were handing out red cards left, right, and centre, and it's really hard at the time to know if it's a red card or a yellow card. So we've settled on just giving a yellow card for pretty much all dangerous tackles, unless it's so severe that you just know straight away it had to be a red. We'll back you in if that's the case. But generally, in those situations, just pull out a yellow, get the player off, and then if you feel like there's a need for it to be upgraded, then contact me and we can look into that, look at the video, or if there's no video, look at other circumstances to upgrade it. Upgrading from a yellow to a red only occurs with dangerous tackles. So I don't want you relying on that for strikes or other reportable instances. If it's a serious enough incident for a red card, give the red card out on the day. But dangerous tackles, because they're difficult issues to deal with, happy with yellow cards being given out, and we can upgrade them. So a couple of examples here of the type of tackles that we would want to be suspended. From a couple of years ago.
Yeah, Colin, can you hear me?
Yeah, mate, just have a look at these videos and then we'll go through it. So that one's there where the players slammed into the ground. And this one here, again, that grabbing hold of their jumper and slinging to the ground. And with that one there, both players were injured, and we needed to take action there. And it's not always whether they're injured or not. It's just the nature of the tackle. So, yeah, working out whether it's a suspension or not. I know you just can't do it at the time. That's why we brought in the yellow card and look at upgrading during the week. Yeah, Cross, what were you going to ask?
Yeah, I'm not sure if you've seen the chat or not, but Sarah's just got a question about what the signal is for the dangerous tackle. It's a bit hard to write what it looks like, but if you could maybe show us.
That's that. I think Ben Moss, who's no longer umpiring with us, did it pretty well in that video. Let's see if I can go back and have a look. Let's see if I can find it. This one coming up here. This one here. So you see the sling to the ground, and Ben does the. Yep, see that one? So it's just that one. Hey, look, at the end of the day, I don't care what the signal is. Let's just get the free kick. Any other questions or comments on any of that?
Use your voice, Cole.
Use your voice. Yep.
Use your voice, Cole. Dangerous tackle.
Yep. No, well, you do that with all decisions. You should be signalling and using your voice. You're right. Any questions or comments from anything that happened on the weekend? Oh, normally I get someone.
I spent a bit of time with Peter to work out when someone. Well, you got me now.
Yeah,
you there, Cole?
Yeah, I can see you, mate.
Had to work out a bit with Pete. Can I just ask you to name me first all the time? Then I won't have to talk to him while I'm down the grade umpiring with some of those people. You know. You
want to be listed as number one umpire, Barry. Why does that not surprise me?
Yeah, well, I am. But what I'm saying is, at least.
Yeah, no, I get it. We will get better at knowing who's IT challenged and who's not. So yeah, we will work on that as we go. But really, at the end of the day, you both need to have your phones there, so that you know that you can make sure you get it done. And just a reminder, both umpires need to do it together. You need to check it off that you get it right in the system. We've had players in the past that missed out on medals because umpires go and do it on their own. It's not good enough to say, I'll do it when I get home. You've got to do it together. All right. And if you've got someone that says that to you, oh, you can do it, or I'll do it when I get home, you say, no, it's not what we're going to do. Just let's get it done. I know it's a bit hard when we're doubling up with games and stuff, but it is important. All right. Anyone else? I don't know whether any of you saw the scarf I'm wearing tonight. Just had to wear that just to celebrate. What a game, hey? What a game. All right, guys. Thanks for joining. I'll see those of you at training on Wednesday night.